Good afternoon, Marianne.
Good afternoon, Winifred.
I'm so happy that you are granting me this time.
I'm honored. Thank you.
Well, we're here with Marianne Marsh. She is a successful entrepreneur. Tell us about yourself.
Of course. Well, as you already said, I'm Marianne Marsh. I've been in the real estate and restaurant business for the last 25 years. But real estate is really where it all started. And I always, in my mentoring capabilities with young people, I always tell them, I said, listen, you have to start somewhere, walk a little bit a path, and then run and never look back. So, I was raised in the south side of Chicago. My parents moved us to Downers Grove, and I was happy enough and lucky enough to get into Northwestern, where I graduated in 1985 with an economics degree. With that degree, I feel like I have a little bit of an advantage over some other realtors. I had a very good, I would say, mentor in the real estate business. So I left sales and came to real estate, and I practiced watching or speculating the markets. So our first condo was in Uptown, which was a little bit, depressed at the time. But 6 years later, my husband and I were lucky enough to double our investment. We moved to the South Loop, which was maybe 17, 18 years ago, the fastest growing.
Okay.
So my husband and I bought our next place in the South Loop, which was then one of the fastest growing neighborhoods in Chicago. But I remembered when it was Skid Row and you really couldn't even go past Cermak, right? For fear of, violence and mayhem. So I said to my husband, this is the perfect neighborhood for us. We have to get in on the come up, right? Once it's already up, it might be great to live in, but we were young. We were looking for investment. So I tell my young buyers, look for good investment. I'm not saying that that's the only priority or should be your priority. You should be happy where you are, but also make it a good investment. So from there, we garnered a lot of success. Him in the PR and journalist business, which was his previous industry, and mine in real estate. As Winifred said, I turned to entrepreneurship after a great deal of success in the real estate business. And my husband and I decided, you know what? We've always wanted to own a jazz club because we're big jazz lovers. And so we opened M Lounge, which is at 1520 South Wabash. M Lounge has been in that same spot successfully for 18 years. So we are so proud of M Lounge as the sort of vehicle that started it all. And it's kind of like our baby. But we have branched out. We went into a larger nightclub persona several years ago. And now we are the proud owners of the Park Supper Club restaurant. I'm pleased to say that there's a couple more Park Supper Club restaurants on the horizon, and the ground has been broken already. So we're really excited about hospitality, and that's what brings me here.
Fantastic. You garnered the experience you had in real estate, the funds you were able to get from real estate to help you open the next venture you had.
Absolutely.
How did you put together the funding for your jazz club or the restaurant?
Yeah. And I mentioned earlier that we are now, right? We have the responsibility as successful business owners in Chicago to mentor young people who want to come behind us and have the next great restaurant or the next jazz club, or even if a young person calls me and says, hey, I want to get into real estate, how do I get into it? So we have that responsibility, and Reginald and I, we take that seriously. So to open your first venture is always the hardest, I'm going to say, because the funding doesn't come easy, especially for a restaurant or a bar.
Right.
Banks are not eager to give money for these kind of endeavors. So it's really important. It's very important that you keep good credit. Reginald and I, we asked our friends and family to help us with as much money as they could. And we were blessed enough to have a family that came in with the investment that we needed. And then we put that with the 50% financing that we got from the bank. So as you can see, when you're looking for $500,000 or even $1 million to build your great restaurant, the bank might only say 50% because it's a very risky business. So you do have to source other funds. I would always start with friends and family who believe in you, and then you can go outside to strangers. And right now, there are so many avenues like crowdfunding and Go Venture and venture capitalists. So you just need to believe in yourself enough to pitch your dream to other people who would hitch their investment with you. And we were lucky. The people who invested and believed in us, they were mostly family members, a few friends along the way, but they've not been sorry about it. So we're really glad that it worked out this way.
So there you have it. Hard work, smart thinking, smart planning, definitely have good credit, or at least work on your credit. Then pitch your idea to your friends and family.
Absolutely.
And some will take a chance on you. And then after that, the sky's the limit, because now, as she mentioned, you have crowdfunding and other avenues. I think another entrepreneur had mentioned a company by the name of Cabbage that lends to new companies as well. Now, Park Supper is located at 65 East Garfield Boulevard. That's the intersection of Michigan and Garfield Boulevard if you're visiting Chicago, or if you're already a resident of Chicago. Go and check it out. They're open 12 to 4, Thursdays through Sundays, with a jazz ensemble, great food. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
From the genesis of the idea of the restaurant
Yeah.
and manifestation of that restaurant,
Yeah.
how much time went by? Did you procrastinate? Were there fears? Were there failures?
Yeah.
Sometimes the greatest success comes from the failure.
Yeah. Well, let me start by saying the Park Supper Club, and you're right. We did open it as a proper jazz dining experience. I would say that in 2019 we had that dream, and we were, bound. We were determined to bring that experience back to the South Side, back to Washington Park, where the intersection of Washington Park and Kenwood and Bronzeville, where all the jazz, was born in Chicago. But from 2019 to 2020, when we were preparing to open, as you well know, COVID hit. So, you have to be prepared. And I know it's hard to be prepared for every catastrophic, thing that could happen. But Reginald and I could have easily said, you know what, being closed for another year is going to break us. We're not going to do this thing. But we're fighters. So there was no way we were going to give up. So we started paying the monthly expenses out of our own pocket, to waiting for COVID to pass. And we, from 2019 to 2021, it was a struggle. But we opened in April, May 2021, and COVID was still lingering. We had a lot of issues that first year, finding staff and making it work. But one of the things that did happen is, rather than staying a straight supper club jazz experience, we have sort of had to bend with the times and be flexible in your dream. You might dream to have a jazz club that's reminiscent of the old Cotton Club, and but then if COVID hits and you see that people want to be on the patio with great food, they want DJs, they want Taco Tuesdays, that's what you have to do. You have to bend and be flexible to give the people what they want. So I'm just going to correct you. We are open now Wednesdays, Thursdays from 5 to 11. So we don't offer lunch anymore. So we're just a cocktail and appetizers and DJ experience. On Friday nights, you can have a full dinner with us Friday and Saturday nights between 5 and 10. But we do promote, we have a DJ experience, and we have the live music part It's just wasn't palatable after COVID. You know, it's hard to get people singing at you, and you're worried about, you know, what COVID had to affect the audience. So we had to bend and change. But our best days, people, Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 4, we have brunch. It's called Boozy Brunch. And you can have bottomless mimosas and great food. Bring your friends. We have a lot of birthday celebrations and people just coming out and hanging out at the patio. So the Park Supper Club has turned into a real pillar, a beacon, I would say, of hope in that neighborhood. And you have no idea how many people, when if they come in and they say, "Who's the owner?" And if I say I am, they say, "Sister, thank you for trusting this community with your dream. Thank you for bringing something so nice. We don't have to go downtown. We don't have to leave the city. And we still feel safe. We feel happy, and this is ours." And so come join us, because you know, it's always risky to bring something like this to a community that doesn't have much else, but I'm so glad we did.
I'm sure they're happy you were inspired to locate it there.
Yeah.
It's actually a great area, easy to get to off the expressway. So do patronize the restaurant. Now, how do you stay organized in your day-to-day? That's because between real estate, the jazz club, and a restaurant, that has to take up quite a bit out of the 24 hours.
It does. So, you know, I advise you, whether it's my husband, who's an amazing partner, or it's our other partners, Tori Barrett and his wife Autumn, find the perfect partnership. And I'm not going to say that every partnership is perfect, because, you know, you might start down a road and it doesn't work. Cut your losses. I mean, you shouldn't stay in a bad partnership. But, you know, we closed Persona, the nightclub industry. For us, was a little hard to, you know, to take, because we're 60 years old. And so that's not our world anymore. I'm not sure it ever was. But having the jazz club, M Lounge is still doing great, and we love it. So build your dream around something that you love, right? It doesn't feel like work when you love it.
Absolutely.
So I will tell you that from morning to night, I wake up asking my husband what is needed at M Lounge. And then he turns to me and says, "What is needed at the Park Supper Club?" And then once we've done all that, I turn my efforts to my first passion, which is real estate. And as if it, you know, a lot of people say if you do too many things, something suffers. Well, I will tell you that between M Lounge being around for 18 years and the Park Supper Club being like this incredible success story on the South Side, I think App Properties feels that I've not changed my attention or dropped any balls where they're concerned. This Rolex is from selling a lot of real estate and making an impression on my owners, and I'm grateful to App Properties, it's a great company, but I'm also grateful to God that I've had the strength to help my husband in the hospitality business, but not lose focus of my real estate business.
Wow. Thank you. You have been a great help. You've answered a lot of the questions that the subscribers have.
Yeah.
You know, one of the most important was how to get funding to fund that dream.
Yeah.
And you've said, you've given him that answer. You've told him to stay focused, stay
strong.
Stay strong to that dream, you know, and make it something you love doing.
Absolutely.
So that it doesn't feel like work. That you hear a lot from entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Over and over. Because if you pick something just because it makes money, it may work for a few years, then it becomes drudgery because
it's a drain.
you're not looking forward to going to it.
Exactly.
You know, it's just it's just another job.
Yeah.
So I thank you for your time, Marianne, and I wish you success in your future ventures. You said other park suppers.
Yeah, so we have a couple more restaurants on the horizon with our partners, the Barrett family. And so the Auburn is coming to Auburn Gresham. We have a Spanish restaurant coming to New City, and then another supper club coming to Bronzeville. So in the next 2 or 3 years, we become ever so busy. But like I said, even on my days off, you can find me at the Park Supper Club, having lunch, having dinner, just enjoying brunch and watching the staff, because I love it. It's not work.
Right.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We wish you all the best.
Thank you.